Well, obviously, you've seen a lot of videos and, different people like talking about the shoulder. What do you feel like ultimately led to you like choosing to work with, you know, Dr. Joey, Comeback Performance? Like, why'd you choose to work with us versus
So,
the
you know,
other folks?
when I was going through Instagram, and I got a lot of Instagram, workouts, you know, uh, I mean, I follow a lot of guys that, are power lifters, bodybuilders. Then, also a bunch of, like Dr. Joey, they're similar to Dr. Joey. Um, but then I came across and he was doing this one where you have a band and he's moving his shoulder like that. And actually it was talking about, um, bicep tendonitis. I said, oh, okay, let me check this guy out. And it's interesting though. So Instagram, they see that you're checking somebody out, and next thing you know, I'm getting all these different shoulder things, which are most of them are fairly similar. But Dr. Joey was, I mean, I just liked the videos, the movements that he was doing. Um, I said, oh yeah, this is good. And I was trying that one movement, which we never did. But you told me, you said, well, wait a minute now. That was the one where you sit down with a light band and you move your arm like this, and then you move it like this and hold it for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds. And you said, well, no, that's a little too advanced.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. And he said, this is for your supraspinatus. I said, oh, okay. I could get some shoulder work without actually doing presses. So, I've never tried this before. Let me do it. And, I don't regret it. Actually, I feel that I've gained a lot. So, but, it was just coming across Dr. Joey doing his thing with that one movement. Then he talked about wall slides. I said, wall slides? What's that going to do? But then when I started doing them, and especially with the wall slides, and then where you bring your arms back, so, oh my God,
Right. Yeah.
feeling muscles that I mean, and you're up in your traps, your rear delts, your rotators are all getting activated. And, holding it for 5 seconds, it's, you're basically, making so that it can be stable. I said, oh, this is the way to go. And I do those every day now.
Good.
I mean, even if weren't in the workout, I still do them just to loosen up even.
Dude,
So,
that's huge.
yeah, so it's,
Well, there's some clients, that are kind of in the 60 and up crowd, and maybe they're like nervous of working with somebody online. Like, how did you find kind of working with us remotely? Like, did you find that it was, easy to follow, like the communication? How did you like doing the online thing?
I liked it a lot. I, working with somebody online. I mean, the thing is, I work, I mean, I'm online all day long and talking to people. So it's not like I'm not used to talking to people online. But, that's work. This is, the first thing outside of work. But, just talking to Dr. Joey, I said, oh, this guy's pretty cool. I liked, I liked what he said. I liked how he presented. The last thing I want to do is be cut into, because, like I said, I had that shoulder surgery before. And if I had if I had had somebody like you, some people like you guys, probably I wouldn't have had to have that surgery. In fact, the guy even told me, he goes, yeah, I'll operate and your shoulder will feel better. It'll never be the same again, though. Once you cut into, all bets, you're never going to be the same again. And just like a guy who tears his ACL in football. Yeah, he'll be back next year, but will he be the same? Probably not.
Yeah.
And you'll always have that chance to hurt it again. So, I think the way to go is basically what you guys have been preaching, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
Cool, man. I love that. And, throughout the process, like, how did you feel about like the support, the communication, like doing Zoom calls? Like, how did you feel about that kind of going through the program?
Oh, I liked it a lot. The Zoom calls were you know, they were fine. I mean, it's been really good talking to you and everything, and you're very helpful. And also I could comment on movements, I could ask questions, and I get timely answers. So, the communication back and forth, I mean, I feel that if I had asked a question every single time I worked out, I would have gotten an answer. But, I didn't feel I needed to ask questions all the time.
Totally.
And with the comments and everything and the assessment at the end of the week, I tried to be as truthful and honest as I could.
What would you maybe tell someone who's hesitant about doing like an online shoulder program? Like, what do you think you would kind of
Actually, I've already talked to a couple of guys about this program, and the one guy, he's using the videos, but the thing is, he doesn't, he sees videos, oh, let me try this. He doesn't have a structured layout. I tell him, well, that maybe that might be a little bit too much for you.
Yeah. Or how do you know you're doing the right ones?
Right.
Pick out the right videos.
And now he has the same thing I have. He has bicep tendonitis. In fact, I actually was talking to him today, and he was doing some heavy squats, with a bar behind his back, and he said that bothered him.
Yeah, that's a really common one. Kind of get into that back rack that put a lot of stress on the front of the shoulder.
Right. Now, for me, when I do the squats, that doesn't bother me. The only way to find out if that's, right for you is to have an assessment done by shoulder comeback, and then the program.
Yep.
Everything, that's the thing, everything in your shoulder's connected, I mean, there are tendons going from your shoulder into your neck and nerves and everything like that in your upper back. I mean, it's all, it's not like this, like a car where, the battery's dead, just replace the battery. No, everything's connected completely.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's not like we can just take our shoulder off and put a new one in there and it'll work. We're not a machine. Everything is connected.
Yeah.
And
we're not robots. We're alive, right?
Exactly. And the one with the neck exercise where, you put your neck back. I said, that makes sense. So many people, today are staring at their phones, head down like this, shoulders slumped. And I'm thinking, and they're mostly kids. They're mostly young people.
Right.
Social media is everything. And I'm thinking, when they get older, they're going to have a lot of problems. The thing is, I now have the tools, meaning the movements, to be able to do this. I mean, I always thought, you do the band and everything like that, and never once did you guys. The only thing that's close to that is like you lay on your side with a light dumbbell.
Yeah, this one. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And but all those other ones, I had no idea. I mean, I've done face pulls many, many times, but
Right.
I never really thought about the rotator cuffs. I always thought about my rear delts, getting work. But, it's more, and also the way Dr. Seaforth demonstrated it, it's different than the face pulls that I'm used to doing. So, so that was, a bit of an education there. So, all right, well, you got to do them the right way. And I do remember when you were assessing my mobility, and you had me standing to the side, and I still remember you saying, well, you got to make sure that your arm is, it can't be down here or up here or like this. It's got to be, basically, straight across, and then you do the movements. So that's another thing, awareness of, what my shoulder is doing. The position it's in when I do these exercises. My biggest problem with myself in the past has been, okay, my shoulder's bothering me. Let me try something, let me do it. It'll go away eventually. And, but I'm doing the same thing. I'm not doing anything different and then hoping that it'll go away. And, that's not going to happen because, Or I say, okay, I'll just take off and do nothing, you know. Yeah, but again, you haven't addressed the problem, and one thing I've gotten out of it is not just mobility, but stability. And, with the scapula and the rotator cuffs, they're all about stabilization, and of course, being able to move freely. Not to mention that, I'm 69 years old. I'm not young. And actually, I'll be 70 in a couple of months. At age 50, mobility and just stretching seemed to mean the same thing to me back then. I realize now that that's not the case. Movement, to me, to warm up, I used to stretch before I worked out with weights. And I've learned, over the course of time, especially, with social media, now there's so much information out there, where before it was just books, 20 years ago, social media, well, it maybe was just getting started. I don't even know if it was or not, but, now when I go to lift weights, all the warm-up stuff I do is not stretching. It's all about movement, and getting those rotators fired up a little bit, not doing something that's, static stretching for 2 minutes or something like that. Yeah, that's great for yoga and meditation and all that. It's good for after you lift, but not before.